Welcome to the A to Z Running Podcast, where we help runners thrive. I'm Andi.
And I am Zach. And up next, world-class track runner Zouhair Talbi discusses what it takes to be among the best. And in the world of running, Stockholm Diamond League, marathon news, and more. You have questions, and we have answers. And we will answer them on air as long as you go to AtoZrunning.com/question so that you can submit or share a thought with us. And please elaborate. We enjoy the context because it helps us answer more clearly. As well, it makes for an even more interesting segment at the end of month Q&A episode that we will be doing soon.
We had it last week, actually, and it was a lot of fun being able to answer your questions, your running questions, to help you thrive. That's the point. So we would love to connect with you on all the different platforms, including Instagram. And I had written up this thing that called for your answers to the question, something only a runner would understand.
It's a good thing you don't run these things by me ahead of time.
It's not a question, but it's like, you're going to share something only a runner would understand. And Ellie said, LOL, we are always leaving to go poop anywhere.
Nope.
Well,
I
yes,
don't share that sentiment.
I do. Always looking for a place to go. And then Laura wrote an easy 90-minute run.
Why is that something only a runner would understand? That
because
pretty
an
straightforward.
Easy 90-minute run, like 90 minutes is a long way to run. So
it
a
is?
lot of people, yes.
No, it's not.
All right, guys, you gotta get after Zach for this. Beth said, "Sorry, I can't stay out too late tonight. I am getting up early for a long run tomorrow morning."
Once again, why is that a strange thing? That's a very normal thing. That's
other people do other things, Zach.
Like what?
I know we go to bed.
Like what?
Try to go to bed.
What
at a decent
is
time.
there to do at night? It's night.
And then Matt wrote, "Doing laps in front of your house to make a 4.9 mile route into a 5 mile one."
Yeah. Why would you do that, Matt? You finished the
Most
run.
people want to do
back.
that, including me. I want to end on something round. So like it has to either be the mile or the time. I like it to just be nice, like 50 minutes or 1 hour. I don't want like 59 minutes or
why
5.9 miles. Like I like
Sounds
it
fine.
one thing to be round. Anyway, we digress. And John wrote, "We are excited when we age up and get extra 5 minutes for the BQ time."
And the extra wisdom that comes with those 5 years.
Yes, very good. Haley wrote, "Waking up 1 to 2 hours early before a run to make sure you get a bathroom trip in."
Well, that's important, but also because your body just feels better when you're running.
That's
when you
true.
have a little bit
Yeah,
more time.
a little bit time
all
to wake
around
up,
a good
your mobility.
strategy, Haley.
And Kristen wrote, "First breakfast, second breakfast, lunch, mid-afternoon lunch, dinner, second dinner, bedtime snack." Which
no, that's a Lord of the Rings quote, and she actually got it slightly wrong because it's first breakfast, second breakfast.
This is her own.
Oh,
She's just saying that about what she does.
Lunch,
which I think is very
afternoon
accurate,
tea,
Kristen. Very accurate.
dinner.
We got to have
supper.
multiple meals in there. Totally
true.
agree with that. And then Rob wrote a second or third or fourth coffee after a run, especially those winter runs, right? And then Scott wrote, "Fartlek, isn't about having intestinal gas."
True.
We have purpose for our
Do
fartlek.
people usually think you're talking about gas?
I think people do giggle. They think that it's...
They do?
Yes, they think it's a bodily function.
Now I have to
Fartlek.
ask the question, Scott. In what kind of casual conversation are you inserting the word
It
fartlek?
probably says, like, I have to go do my fartlek.
I really think that's not a good idea
Yeah.
in general.
Got to do my run, maybe would... Or
Unless
got
you
the
have
runs.
the
No,
time
that's
to
not-
clarify.
That's not good either. All right. Well, thank you for all engaging. That was very entertaining for all of us to read each other's comments. And there are just things that only runners really, truly understand. And one of those
Like
things
working
being
hard.
making sure we have all our things with us that we need in a long run,
Oh,
like our
good transition.
hydration. We are promoting the Flip Belt again this week because you can get a discount, and it's very timely with all the summer running that everyone is doing right now, training possibly for some fall marathons and needing to bring hydration on the go. So the Flip Belt helps you bring those things with you, like hydration and your phone and fuel, in a belt that doesn't bounce, which I am super grateful for because I've had other belts in the past that really bounce and it's very annoying. So the Flip Belt has been a great tool in order to keep that that hydration where it needs to be. And Zach's actually been using it quite a bit because I'm a little injured. So we have 2 flip belts in the home, but he snagged the newest one.
I just use both of them.
They're all his now.
At the same time, sometimes, because you can never have too many places to put things.
Yeah, especially because today, not to call him out on air, but he went and got ice cream without us.
Was that today when you're listening to this? It was a day recently when I ran.
And he went.
I didn't get ice cream without you. I was finishing my long run and passing an ice cream shop and realized that the sound of a chocolate malt at that moment was too good to pass up. And because I had my flip belt on and my phone in pocket, I had a means of paying for that ice cream. Oh, my word. So I stopped at the ice cream shop. I got myself a chocolate malt, and then I continued to run the rest of the way home while sipping the malt.
I mean, doesn't that sound like a dream come true?
It was amazing.
And then he flaunted it in front of me and our 2 young boys.
I flaunted nothing. I simply stated a fact of why I was carrying an empty malt cup in my hand when I saw them on the driveway.
Well, we have more exciting things to talk about here on the show today, so let's get to our main topic. This week on the AtoZrunning podcast, we hear from world-class runner Zouhair Talbi, who goes to school in the U.S. and competes for Morocco. His journey grinding through lonely Kansas workouts and pushing through tough races. Zouhair shares his story of resilience and tells us to fight no matter what.
What a line. What a quote. And his delivery is just so pristine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a really great conversation. But before we get to it, a little bit about our guest, Zouhair Talbi. He was a 7-time NAIA national champion for Oklahoma City, and he is the indoor 3,000 and 5,000 record holder. Well, Zouhair is a track distance specialist. He is also a sub-4 miler and has run 1:02 in the half marathon, so he has got quite the range. He was 6th place this year at the World Indoor Championships in the 3,000 meters representing Morocco, and he ran a new PR this spring in the 5,000 meter outdoors in 13:24 at Hayward Field, where he will return for the 10K for the World Championships here very soon. Speaking of which, he qualified with the world standard for the 10,000 with a time of 27:20.61. We're going to talk about that race in this episode. And he beat both Emmanuel Bohr and U.S. champion Joe Clucker in that race. It was a very strong race, and we're excited to see what he can do on the world stage.
You've got to hear him. Stick around through the interview. You've got to hear him talk about the World Championships and his thoughts about the upcoming event.
Well, let's get to our conversation with Zouhair. Hi, Zouhair. Welcome to the AtoZrunning podcast. We are thrilled to have you on the show as longtime fans of yours. So thanks for coming. Thanks for joining us here.
Thank you for having me.
So before we started, we made the connection when we were just chatting a moment ago that we saw you race in person down in Austin, Texas about 2 years ago. And my impression I was sharing with you was we're watching the race and I'm seeing you out there and I'm thinking, I'm not quite sure who that is. And, this guy's just laying it on in a pretty strong field of runners and really showing them up in a good way. And so I started thinking about this. I got to figure out who this guy is. So I started doing some research. I'm on my phone looking things up, and it strikes me that this is the one that I've been hearing about from the NAIA, who's just kind of taking things by storm. And so we watched that race, and that was a great race. You dominated well and truly, and it was a very strong run. And from there, things have just continued to rocket forward to some incredible heights. We'd love to, and that may not be the time, but we'd love to hear your kind of early stages of when did things really start to take off for you in running? When did you start competing at a very high level like this?
Okay, so I came to United States in I think January 2019. That's when I got here. But before I came here, I was I started as a talent in all my categories. When I started running, I was in youth category. I was the national champion. I ran just to give you where I were A18 as a youth, 18 in 3K as a youth category in 3,000 meters. And like in junior, I went to the world championship cross country. I finished 14th in the world. So I had that talent from a very young age, but of course nobody knows about me here because it's different different countries. And I start running a little bit in France. So I was a little bit known there after my junior, like at the age of like 20, 19, 18, 19, 20, that I was winning some races there. So mostly I was doing track, but right after that I did a jump to the road races, where I start like running some half marathons, like 10 kilometers. But I did a lot of traveling in this period. That's when I realized that this is not gonna work for me as a person and as like what I really wanted, because all the coaches, all people that knows you as a runner, they always want you to like succeed in running, like run fast times. But just traveling and reflecting by myself, I knew that I need at least a degree, because you always in life you have some bad days when you just think that running is not gonna work for you, it's not gonna like give you any, like it's not gonna feed you. So you will have to like rely on something else. That's when my idea start looking for an opportunity. And I remember that I was receiving some emails from universities here in the United States. So I kind of stopped my thinking about running too much. Of course, I'm running, like I keep running every day, but I was like, what I need to like get there. Like it was not like an easy thing to do as like as a foreign. You have like to know English. That's the first barrier. You have to start learning. I wasn't really after high school, I wasn't really like good in English, so I had to like start learning like some classes and also like go through the eligibility and everything. So unfortunately, I tried in the NCAA and I was not eligible. That's why I tried to go to NEIA, because I didn't start the process really early. I started a little bit like when I was 22 years old. So it was really the clock. It wasn't in my side. So so that's how I get here. But I get here where I have 13:29. So I already like have some. I already like have some. I run 62 in half marathon, 62:00. So I really have the. I know what it takes to like run fast. I've been training hard. It's just I took a different like path, which is go to classes every day, which it was not like, it was a shock for me, because I was like that previous years, like 3 or 4 years, I was not going to school. So I was just training as a pro. Then I had to go to school and just have full-time students. It was a little bit like hard. So, but the goals stay the goals. Even like you're a student, you're you're a full-time worker, you gotta like keep chasing those goals. So that's what I did. And the first race I run here, it was like Portland Track Festival. I won the 10K in 28:02, and I remember I broke the meet record of Garden Rock. So that was like, that's when some people start knowing me, and I knew that I'm more good in 10K. So that year, because sorry, I'm taking it long, but I'm just trying to give you where I start. And so I went to a junior college for a year and a half. So, but the program was really hard. It was not helping me as distance runners because we didn't have a distance coach. So I was doing everything by myself, and it was just hard time to keep motivated. So I have like to dig to find the motivation, the extrinsic motivation that you need as a runner, because you want a PR, but the reality is different because it's everyday training, morning workouts. You're by yourself in the track. Even like I didn't have a group, so I was by myself. So sometimes I have 420 times, and then by myself in the track. And in Kansas, it was windy, so you have to chase. So you have like to deal with that, and you don't know if you're in shape or not, because sometimes you're not hitting the times you wanted. So like it's just mentally was tough. But the transition was good when I get to Oklahoma City, and that's when I find like a big group, and I find like a distance coach has a lot of experience, and it made my coming from where I were to like that. I felt like a big difference because I don't have to like worry about the workout or the long runs or so I find a lot of help, and immediately like things start to click because I already like somebody's hungry of that training of the. So I started hitting a lot of mileage. Like I was like hitting like around 90 miles a week. That's an average. Like, and I was like doing all my long runs, and I keep like doing the small thing I do all the time, like strength workout, like stretching. So I keep myself healthy for a long time. So in February, I was already like 7 months of consistent good training. So I was like that day I have in Austin I was like if it's not that humid and the race was good, was fast, I was able to run some 27:30. That's the what I get from that race. I was like, I think I'm ready to do something big. So from that time, I was like, I need to change the Olympic standard that year, which I end up doing it in the same year. So yeah, that's a little bit of just my story.
That's incredible. It's incredible. And so you did say, Zuhair, that, and this happens quite a bit where for a lot of people it was a surprise when you started racing in the United States because they hadn't followed your career previously. But for you, in some ways, it was kind of like proving the experience you've already demonstrated in other instances, in the youth categories, as well as you were coming up through entering the senior category too, continuing to perform at a very high level, and having to almost kind of prove yourself again in a new market. Once you're in the States and you're competing there and people hadn't known you before, that period of time, like in the junior college experience where things weren't quite ideal and it was a more challenging time, how do you stay motivated when, you said about a year and a half where it's not what you hoped it would be, or at least the kind of support wasn't the same as what you would like to have, a team, like you said, a team where everyone's kind of doing these things with you. You're doing a lot of it by yourself instead. How did you stay on track through that period?
So it's funny because before I came here, I always like follow a lot of guys, which is true, because if you're in a big D1 schools, you will have all that support, and so it's like being in Morocco. I was with Moroccan team, which we have some support, which is good. Like you have coaches, you have runners, but that's not much my goal. Like it doesn't. I have to be in school and have to follow that. So being there, I didn't have anything, but I stick with the goal of like school. like no matter what happened, I have to finish that degree, because I can't go back until I achieve that goal. So I think that motivation of different, like than running, just being in school, motivating me to stay, like to not give up, like because it's sometimes you just like give up because you're like, wow, that's getting hard, like even racing, even like uh for in running, I just felt like I built some friendship through my years. Like I have some, like my best friend is a very good runner. Right now, he finished 11th in the last Olympic Games. He finished second in uh in a New York Marathon. His name is Rida El Arabi. So I've been talking mostly with my friend, and he was like, he was giving me some tips, some advice. Sometimes you just want somebody to talk to. Probably like he tell me his workout, like, oh, we have done this. I have done this. Just keeping talking about running, like watching videos online, like uh, probably like just documentaries about like a runner, just trying to be engaged in running, because you don't want to like just be too much in school, like thinking about school. You just want to like keep yourself motivated. But mostly when I talk with my friend about running, and he's like, oh, I'm racing in 2 weeks, I'm doing this workout, if he tell me the split, I will like try to like get closer to the split. Like that's that's when he gave me, when he tell me the split, I say like all my K repeat were in 240 or something. Like mine are in 250. I should get to that level. So I don't know. So sometimes like just hearing the splits, that you get motivated to go chasing those times.
Mm. That's key. And that's really important, because, a friend like that, where so you can still do that, even though you're not training together, you're not doing those things at the same time, but you're still able to share those experiences in that way, at least. So now you said, thinking about like sometimes watching videos of runners or running documentaries or races. I'm curious, do you have a favorite race that you like to watch to help inspire?
Oh yeah. 2004, the Olympics Games, Hisham El Garouj, when he won the 1500 and the 5K. So just for him, he was really like he wanted he had everything, like every like middle distance record, and he won a lot of world championships, but never won like gold medal. So he been chasing that for a long time. So for him, in the last stretch with Bernard Lagat, he was almost like losing the medal, and just the winning mentality, that you come back and you win just with a few mirrors. So it was like really inspiring. I watched that race like 50 times or something. That's my favorite race for sure.
Yeah. Oh, that's incredible. I love that race. Well, the both of them, that Olympics, he just, he did the thing that, and you just said it, like everyone was talking about all these years of world records, and just, he could race anybody, he could beat anybody, but there was just that one thing missing. And then in that one Olympics series, he proved beyond all doubt that there was nobody like him. It was so incredible.
Yeah.
We left off on when you were sharing your story with May 14, 2021, which I think is a pretty epic race. And I know that our audience would like to hear about it too. That was the one that you ran Sound Running Track Meet into 2021 when you ran 27:20. Could you talk us through that race? Because that's a really exciting race.
Well, okay. So as I said, in February, I already knew that, okay, I'm hitting some like some split or training been good. Like I've been healthy for a long time. So I've been like doing a lot of good workouts, and even people around me, coach or like my teammate, they were like, this is not like a normal level. This is like, you gotta be with those guys. Now, even like I get a lot of motivation from my friends, and that it was funny because I was like with the guys, the one word I was repeating that before a race, it was like all or nothing, which means I will go, I will put myself in a race, I will do something good, or I'm gonna like give up or something. So just the mentality before a race was like, I'm gonna do something that day. Uh, and the race was perfect. Like we had pacemakers for like almost 7K, which right now I it's hard to find. Like even those conditions, I run some running again this year, and those conditions were really perfect that day. We've been like consistent in the same pace. In a 10K, that's what you want. You don't want to like go hit like a fast split and go slow. You want just a consistent one. So the pace did a very good job that day. And as I said, like when you know that you will do good, is like the first 5K was like, I remember 13, it was 13:44 or 43, and I didn't feel anything. Like I felt like I'm still I'm still fresh to like do something. So that's why my last 800 was like I think sub 2 minutes. It was like 1:59. So I was like I pushed the race in the last 800 because I felt like I still have more on me. So it was incredible. It was like that. It's just that reward of all the year of training.
Mhm.
It was incredible.
Mm-hmm. And that last 400 was 59 seconds. And you
Yeah.
were beating Emmanuel Bohr and Joe Clucker in the finish there.
Just
Yeah.
sticking it to some of the strongest in the area, which is just so great. That was such a race.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I just felt like everybody need like a start where he got like his name, and I felt like uh those races, that's when people start like knowing, because I didn't run the NCAA. Most runners, they're known because they won like a title in the NCAA or like, but uh for me it was like I have to win the pro field so people can know me. I was aware of that, and I that's how I put my name there, and hopefully that's only the start, and I will chase more more goals. Yeah.
right on. Absolutely. Well, we certainly hope so too. I do want to, I want to ask you because no runner has been able to experience running for terribly long before they have bad days and disappointing experiences. You know, certainly the races don't go as planned all the time, or, you know, we do all the work leading up to a major moment and then it doesn't come together for some reason. Have you had what have been some of the major disappointments? How do you handle those moments when things aren't going well?
Well, so I think always coming to race, you have like a goal, but always I think in deep in my mind I put like if it's an A goal or like first goal, you have like a second goal where like if it's a bad day, you wanna like at least come back with, for example, my last race, I was really training like I had like a lot of volume, then I started like doing a lot of speed workouts. So I was really fit to run like a fast 5K, and my goal was like run like sub below 13. But it just then I was in a race where the dynamic was not really ideal for a fast time for me. It was like set up for a world record attempt, which end up like going the first kilometer in 2:30, and everybody followed that pace. I end up running the first K in 2:33, which is not good. I need to be like in 2:37 or 38 to keep the legs fresh for a long time. I end up like after 2K really just feeling not good like the whole time, just trying to survive and finish the race. But I end up running outdoor PR. So I was like, at the end, you're like, it's okay because you have more opportunities coming. Probably like you've been really shooting for that race and you won it, but I think there's other opportunities that you can surprise yourself and surprise other people because everything you trained, it's not gonna go away. It's there. It's just you need to do another build up next time and try to do it again. I felt like at the end that's how running is. Like you're not always gonna like run fast or win. Sometimes you not have it, and I think you just need to not forget that you've been training so hard and you have a lot of training on you, and probably that day you were sick, there's a lot of things can happen, and you just need to know what's caused you. For me, in my case, I was like probably not like fresh to the race. Probably my last workout was like 6 days before, and I was thinking maybe that's lead some of like some of the fatigue in my legs, plus the race was fast in the first like mile. So probably in other people cases they may like think if it's the weather, you gotta find what it is and try to not do the same like mistakes in the next time. And that's how I think, like just move on and don't do the same mistake.
Mhm.
That's really good advice.
So I would love to know, how do you battle when you're in a race and you're starting to feel the fatigue early on? Because I think that a lot of us can resonate. We're in a race and we're not feeling as zippy or fresh as we want to. How do you engage in the battle to still find out what is the best for the day and not let those negative thoughts creep in?
Yeah, you're right. Sometimes you get those negative thoughts where you just want to give up. But I just felt like if you feel like if you abandon the race, like you don't finish the race, is you don't want to have that in you, because it's gonna start like a segment where every race you're scared or you just want to fight no matter what. So I felt like if you're shooting for like in your mind like a pace and you don't have it, you may want to like slow down a little bit and just try to like fight on that pace. And I felt like I break the race into like, I don't know, like I'm in 3K right now, I just need to get to the 4K. It's just fighting the whole time. And if you find some group next to you, and I was like just trying to like probably like stick with some guys, and or try, if they're slow a little bit I have to pass them. I just engage my mind the whole time to not like slow down immediately like dramatically. So I just like try to keep my legs moving the whole time. Otherwise I will like you will slow or start like thinking you just, I felt like it's fighting. You gotta fight until the finish line. That's what I think.
Mhm.
That's great.
And I really truly think, and I know it sounds cheesy and cliche, but that is how champions are made. Because if someone has easy days all the time where they feel on, then they're never tested in their mind and in their character to battle it out. So then when the day comes and they are feeling good, that extra amount of perseverance and strength will help them even achieve more than they would have if they always had days that were on days, as people say. So
Mhm.
I really appreciate reading that in your recaps on your Instagram, because I think that it's important for us to realize like how much can be discovered even on days that we're not feeling like everything clicks.
So my last question on my mind at the moment, Zuhair, is you've got some exciting times ahead and certainly some challenges in front of you. And I'm just curious, what are the difficult moments you're anticipating in the racing you're going to be doing up ahead, and what are you doing to prepare yourself so you can overcome and be successful?
So right now, I'm preparing myself for the World Championship. I'm gonna run the 10,000 meters, and I just feel like right now I'm in Colorado Spring, in high altitude training. So I just I have that, I say a plan, or maybe like yeah, probably like a plan that I had when I was in school. I was like, okay, I need to give running a shot and just focus more, and like uh, just use every uh, uh, tool that I can have, like altitude, like recovery, like just give more time to anything that can improve my performance. So, and just try to have a consistent workout, uh, and see how how can I what I can do with just give it a good shot. That's what I'm doing now.
Does it make you nervous at all when you see some of these Ethiopians and the American and the Canadian recently, these guys running under 27 minutes, and obviously they're running in these races that are paced really perfectly, that they have perfect conditions. Does it make you nervous, or what do you think about that?
Exactly. That's what I want to say, because I experienced that myself. Like if you ask me if when I run 27:20, I'm pretty sure a lot of people now would say that's probably like insane, that's impossible. I run it myself, and they know that it's possible. And so even now when I hear like, okay, sub 27, probably that's a huge or fast time. But I think if everything's set up perfectly, the pacer, like good weather, I I think I can do it, because other you see those guys in championship races where they run like, I don't know, 27, 30. So it's not always they will run like 26, 40, or 27 or 26, 50, something like fast. The the race needs to set up for that time, and I still believe that if uh, a race set up for me in those spaces, I may end up doing the same thing. So in championship races, I'm not gonna be putting the times. Honestly, in my mind, I will like think that, okay, I have I have the cake as well. I can have a good day that day, and I will like have the legs fresh, and I will fight until like I still think I can do something good based on my training. And also I had the experience this spring in the indoor world championship, where I ran the 3000, and I qualified to the final. I finished sixth in the final, and I was with everybody until the last 200 meters, which, if you ask me, I don't know, again, a year before, say, why are you gonna be like finalist and finish with them in the, I'll be like, probably not. But it's just like, until you experience those moments and you know that it's possible, so the times, you won't scare you that much. You will think that uh, in a championship race, everything can be different. some people, like, it comes to the last lap, some people just don't have it, even they have the fastest time in the field. So they won't scare me. If the Ethiopians watch me now, or the Kenyans, you guys know, you won't scare me. I will fight.
You will. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, Zuhair, we have so appreciated your time and your attention to the sport of running, over the years, certainly, but being willing to share that in your experiences here with our audience today. We're looking forward to seeing, we followed you with interests thus far, and it's just been so exciting. And we know that things don't always go, as we hope. But at the same time, you've got such great positive momentum right now and coming into a great summer. And so we're rooting for you. We're excited for what that may be and looking forward to watching.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you.
Well, if you didn't notice, I was very excited during that conversation. And for many reasons, but there's a little bit of a combination of great things in a conversation like that. The first is for Zuhair to be willing to kind of share like his thoughts about the things that are happening, and not just that in the past, but upcoming, which, not everyone wants to engage at that level. It can be a little nerve-wracking, and you don't want to, call the shots before you see them and such. But for his willingness to do that, that was really exciting. But also then just some nostalgia too, and reminiscing about some incredible track races over the years. And it was good times. It was good times. Thank you, Zouhair Talbi, for sharing your thoughts with us.
And good luck to you in the upcoming World Championships.
Very much so. We'll be watching, and we're very thrilled to see how it goes.
Now let's get to the world of running.
A quick update before we begin from the A to Z runners who ran recently. Madeline and Mike, congrats on running a 5K. Bill, congrats on 3rd overall and a first age group in a 5K. And Jacob, another 5K and a strong effort, very nearly personal best time. And finally getting an accurate course after many 5Ks that weren't so accurate. So that's great. Nice work, Jacob. It'll be there. It'll be there very soon. Now, let's talk about the Diamond League in Stockholm. So this one being I believe one of the last, is it the last or one of the last before the World Championships? I think it's the last one before World Championships, but I could be wrong now that I'm not remembering. So they've basically set the World Championships teams for most countries by this point. And as a consequence, a lot of those runners are not trying to do anything crazy right now. They're kind of chillaxing before the big dance, if you will, because it's only like 2 weeks away. But there were still some good races, and it was still quite exciting. You can watch the entire, well, not the entire meet, but you can watch the full Diamond League coverage from BBC if you want to jump on AtoZrunning.com. With this episode, we've got the link right there for you. Now, the men's 800 was one of those interesting and exciting races. It was, for many, supposed to be a chance to kind of see where the returning Olympic gold and silver medalists, Kenya's Emmanuel Career and Ferguson Rodich, where those guys are at. Well, interestingly enough, they did not look sharp. Not to say they can't still come World Championships, but it was interesting to see that the flair wasn't there that you might expect from their certainly great performances over the years. So we'll see. We'll see how the next couple of years. And as a consequence, the race kind of, it was like an any man's day, and it was interesting to see kind of how it was unfolding in the last 100 meters. Everyone was scrambling, and it was crazy.
Yeah.
Now, that said, that also kind of lends itself to wanting to watch some of those 800-meter runners who have some great momentum at the moment coming into World Championships. Don't forget about Great Britain's youngster Max Bergen, and Bryce Hoppel of the United States has been looking strong lately too. So among others. But let's look at
the 3,000 now. And the men's side, Sudanese refugee Dominic Labalou took the race by storm, and he ran a 7:29. Both an incredible PR and the fastest time run by any in the refugee team program.
So he, being South Sudanese, is running for the, I can't remember the full, it's ART, but it's the refugee team. And this is a pretty common thing where you have a country that they can't recognize their athletes, or the athletes won't be recognized by the country. There's a lot of different reasons. But he runs for the refugee program. And as a result, he doesn't set national records, which is unfortunate because it would have been like a 22nd Sudanese national record.
That's huge.
Yes. But at the very least, certainly a great performance. And what made it especially impressive was his blazing final kick, which bodes well for things like world championship type stuff, especially when he's out kicking the likes of Stewie McSwain of Australia and Jacob Kiplimo of Uganda. It was a stacked field.
Stacked. It was a big race.
Yeah. So let's talk about that a little bit because Jacob Kiplimo looked great, and that's good because he has not been racing on the track hardly at all. He set the world record in the half marathon, if you recall, back in November. Nothing like, running 57 minutes and 31 seconds.
Oh, man.
So he did that, but he's been on the roads more than the track for most of his career, and this season was no exception to that. But he did score that bronze medal in the Olympics last year, and so we'll see now clearly looking like he's in good track form again.
And he was leading in the last lap, wasn't he?
He took charge in what amounted to a classic like blaze the final lap and take the race, but Lobalu had a better last 100 and took him down at that point. But I think, personally, one of the things that was the most interesting to me about that entire race was Stewie McSwain of Australia finally back in top form. And that was surprising to me because I wasn't following very closely his season. And as it turns out, he had a bad bout with one of those COVID vaccines that caused the heart problems. And it knocked him out for some time to the point where he said in an interview, I don't know if it was before or after the race, but he said he wasn't sure he would ever actually be able to do it again, which was very frightening for someone at his level especially. But this was really good looking. He looked strong, and he could have done anything. He was only a few seconds off his PR, so looked great in his best possible form. He just didn't have that crazy final kick that those other guys did.
Right.
So
He was after the Pacers dropped. He was in the front though for a bit there until Jacob Kiplimo took
Classic
over.
Stewie, pushing the pace all the way.
Pushing the pace.
Yep. That was really good to see.
And we had a national record, Zach.
And in 6th place, Louis Grijalva. I never know how to say his name. He ran for Northern Arizona University and just was a stud there. But he's Guatemalan, and so as a result, he set a new Guatemalan national record in 7:38, also a personal best for him. No surprise there.
Awesome.
Yes. Very much so.
Women's 800, Kenya's rising star, Mary Mora, upset Great Britain's Olympic silver medalist that we've been talking about on air nonstop, Keely Hodgkinson. So there is going to be an epic showdown at the World Championships. There is no doubt. There are so many amazing 800-meter women right now in the world.
Yeah, 5 women total have run under 158 this season, that's good. That's not incredible, but it doesn't get much better than that most of the time in a regular season. And of those 5, Mary Mora of Kenya has done it twice, 2 or 3. She's run under 158 multiple times. So has Ating Mo. And Keely Hodgkinson has either been under 158 multiple times or very nearly under 158 multiple times. So, these women aren't just running a fast time here and there. They're racing really well. Yeah. And you saw Ating Mo and the U.S. champs get a scare from Ajay Wilson. And Raven Rogers is always good for a championship race. So, these things are awesome. We're really excited to see how that race goes. That's probably Andy's favorite race.
I love that race, yeah.
Well, the women's 3,000 steeple was also an interesting one because you had some not crazy fast times, but a very strong performance from Daisy Jepkemei from Kazakhstan, previously of Kenya, now Kazakhstani, and she won a comfortable race, but right behind her, Alice Finot of France came on strong and late and ended up running a new French national record.
9:19.
Oh, by the way, also in 4th, Natalia Strebkova of Ukraine set a new national record as well.
9:24. Speaking of excitement for the upcoming World Championships from all these performances, the U.S. is going to be sending Kira D'Amato instead of Molly Seidel because Molly Seidel had to withdraw. She has a stress reaction in her sacrum. So sad news there, but we quite possibly have the best alternate ever.
That is true. When you have the alternate pulled in for the World Championships who also happens to hold the national record in the event set earlier that year, you're not really that worried in terms of performance potential. You're thinking, okay, we lost a gem for sure in Molly Seidel. I mean, Olympic medalist. So you lose something good there when she can't perform. But at the same time, you've got another who could also potentially medal. So that's great.
Yeah. So Emma Bates and Sarah Hall are who Keira D'Amato will be joining as part of Team USA for the World Championships. And for the men, who do we have, Zach?
Oh, on the men's side, certainly Galen Rupp is performing once again. And many have said, he hasn't looked stellar this season. He's run a couple kind of like exhibition types of things.
He doesn't really run many races.
Yeah, and he never like looks the way during the season, the way he's going to at the championship event.
Yeah.
So I'm not super worried about that. I don't think Galen Rupp is at the best possible top of his game at this moment in time. But he's great, so we're not worried. Elkanah Kibet as well as Colin Mikau are the other two. Also, I raced Colin not terribly long ago in a half marathon, and I'm running next to him, and I'm thinking, this guy is not breathing hard, and I'm like doing everything I can, and we're maybe like around mile 9 at that point, and that's when he started running away from me, and I thought to myself, I got to look up his name because he is definitely more than what I thought when I was coming into this race. It was like Quad Cities half marathon.
Okay, gotcha.
A couple years back. Yeah, good times.
Keira D'Amato told Runner's World, everything I've been working for my whole life is to make a U.S. team to be able to wear red, white, and blue and a Team USA jersey. I would regret it the rest of my life not saying yes to an opportunity like this. Are you kidding me? So I wanted to just hype everyone up for this dream that many people have to represent their countries at World Championships, and what an amazing experience that must be to know that you are being chosen by your country to compete at the highest level.
And some might find that response a little bit strange. Like, well, duh, of course she would say yes. But that's actually not the case in the marathon. You actually rarely get your A-listers across the board running the World Championships. And it's for simple reasons. Because in the World Championships, your potential to make money is very low. Whereas those same runners can go to a World Marathon Majors and make tons of money just for showing up, appearance fee-wise. So they're losing out on a potentially massive payday a lot of the time when they run the World Championships. And so you get a kind of like an interesting balance of some years they will, other years they won't, depending on what opportunities are there. And as a marathoner, you're only as good as the moment someone's willing to pay you money in terms of like this world-class scene, because you never know what's going to happen next. And so if someone's offering you a check to show up at a race, these runners, generally they'd take it. So that is potentially a sacrifice, and that's why that response kind of sounds that way, that flavor of like, maybe I will, maybe I won't. But of course she is, and we're very excited.
Speaking of fast marathon runners, we have on the women's side in the USA, Lindsay Flanagan ran a 2:24:45.
Wow.
For yet another PR. We just had her on the podcast not too long ago, just a few weeks, so make sure you check out that episode. But she was the overall female winner, and she broke the course record at the Gold Coast Marathon in Queensland, Australia.
Sounds awesome.
Yes. The previous record was 2:24:49, so she booked it in. She ran 40 for her last 200, so she had to turn it on. She was suffering in this race. She was suffering.
Yeah.
And to be able to close it strong like that, she barely got that record there. So I'm really glad that she was able to turn it on and get that final kick going to earn herself the course record. And she's the first American to ever win the Gold Coast Marathon for the men or the women. So I thought that was kind of cool.
That is.
Yeah.
That is
And I'm sure she made her coach proud, who's from Australia too.
So there you go. Especially, yep, good. Bonus round, because naturally when there are impressive national records, we like to try to cover them regardless of whether it was at one of these big races or not. So this was then Jessica Hull of Australia doing what she does, which is breaking national records for Australia. Seems to be a commonplace thing for her. How many?
7.
7. There you go. Okay, and this in particular was on July 2nd. Jessica Hull ran 4:19 at the UAC mile. 4:19.
Yes, the previous record was 4:21, so she crushed it. And our dear U.S. champion in the event, Sinclair Johnson, she paced her teammate, Jessica Hall.
Ah.
They're from different countries, but they're on the same team. They train together. So
Good.
that was kind of cool to see her out there doing that. She did about 3 laps of it, I think, and then dropped out. But yeah, we're excited to see what Sinclair Johnson can do at the World Championships as well.
And they get to race each other too.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, Hull's running the 1500.
I'd be surprised if she wasn't.
Championships. She could run any of the events, so it's always
Oh,
a
that's
question
true.
of which ones
Which
she
one
chooses
will
to
Jessica
do.
Hall do?
Usually it's 1500 and or 5K. So
if you want to
we'll see.
watch it, we have the link to it. We also have the link to Lindsay Flanagan's marathon for the Gold Coast Marathon in Queensland. And we have the full Diamond League. So
Lots
if you are
of
looking
races to watch.
to prime your taste for good competition for the World Championships, you can get going with some of these meets beforehand and get yourself excited to see what will happen when the world's best comes together.
That is it. And thinking about getting excited when the right people come together, if you find yourself in this moment in need of something more, whether it's support in your efforts or just an answer to a question, certainly submit your questions, AtoZrunning.com/question, and we'll get right on it. We'll put them in the episode at the end of the month when we do that as well. But if that's not enough, look for the word coaching at AtoZrunning.com, and you may find a service that could help further your goals at this time.
And many of you are looking at fall marathons, and this would be a good time to
Don't wait.
Don't wait. The training should begin now for your fall marathon. So feel free to reach out and just see if it would be a good fit.
That's a great soft sell.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. We loved having Zuhair Talbi on the show today. We wish him all the best in the World Championships, and we'll talk to you all next week.